Alignment is the way that the text lines up on the page. Right now, this text is left aligned, and I'm going to show you how to do different kinds of alignment. So I'm going to highlight the text that I have right here, and I'm going to go to this toolbar. Right now, see, it's left aligned. All those little lines are lined up on the left. If I wanted to center all of this, I would click this one, and that centers it. This one right aligns it. And this is called justified, where it's lined up on the left and the right. The reason that people don't often choose this is that it creates a lot of kind of wide spaces in the middle of the text. So most of the time you're probably going to be asked to do things left aligned. The reason that you would use center aligned is for something like a title. Sometimes when people want to center their title, they'll put the cursor here, and they will just hit the space bar a bunch of times to move it. That is not the correct way to center a title because you almost never get it exactly right. Some people also might hit the tab key and just make it jump over. That is also no way to center your title. The correct way to do it would be to highlight your title, or you can even triple click on it, 1, 2, 3, and that highlights the whole thing. Then click the center align, and that puts it perfectly in the center. All of these commands can also be done with the format menu. So if I were to highlight the title, I can go to format, and right here it says align, and I have all of these choices here too. Now let's look at line spacing. I'm going to highlight my paragraph. Line spacing is the space in between the lines. Right here is the line spacing icon on the toolbar. If I click on that, right now it's automatically set to 1.15. I could choose 1.5, and that makes it 1.5 spaces between each. I could also choose double spaced, or you can choose single space, which is actually kind of tight. The default of 1.15 is nice. So you're going to need to find out what kind of spacing your teacher or instructor wants you to use. To start a new paragraph, you would hit enter as opposed to using the space bar or the tab key. You never use either one of those keys to move text around. So notice that when I start my new paragraph here, and even if I decided to indent with the tab key, it's very tight. So sometimes people put additional spaces in between their paragraphs. If this is something that you're permitted to do and that you want to do, then what you would do is sort of highlight all of your paragraphs, go into line spacing, and you can go into custom spacing here. You can tell Google Docs how much space to add before each paragraph. So I'm going to put a 6. That's for 6 points. I'll hit apply and we'll see what that looks like. So that just puts a little bit of extra space in between these. If I were to go a little bit higher, maybe to 12. And if you're looking at the whole paragraph, that just gives sort of a nice little bit of space in between. Your instructor may not want you to do that though, but that would be how to do that. And again, these commands are also inside the format menu. Right here for line spacing, you can do the same things that you would do with this key here. The margin is the space at the top and the sides and down at the bottom of every page, the white space. To set your margins, you go to File, Page Setup. They're going to be automatically set most of the time to 1 inch on all sides. Sometimes you may want to change this. Sometimes people want wider margins on the side. Maybe if I did a 1.5 on the left and a 1.5 on the right, that just changes it to 1.5 inches. It's going to make it wider. Whatever you do to the left, you should also probably do to the right. So I'll click OK. And that makes the margins a lot wider. That's also the place where you would change the orientation of the page. So we'll go back to page setup again. And if you wanted it to be a landscape instead of portrait, this is where you would do that. And that changes it quite a bit to a page turned to its side. It's also possible to change your margins using these blue sliders up here, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend that you just highlight all of your text and use the page setup commands. It's just sometimes when you start moving these things around, it can make your paper get a little bit uneven. So stick to the page setup menu if you want to be safe.